Morgue log, City Medical Examiner's Office, entry number 147. 3 years as a coroner in the city's central morgue, and I've never felt uneasy around the dead. Until today. The specimen arrived from Memorial Hospital at 2:17 a.m., a heart, preserved in solution rather than the standard freezing protocol. The transplant team had deemed it non-viable after the donor flatlined on the table. The chart indicated some anomaly they wanted examined, which is why it ended up in my morgue rather than medical waste. Nothing about the intake seemed irregular, except perhaps the hour and the handwritten note from the surgeon. Abnormal persistence of electrical activity post-mortem. Advised against transplantation. Request full pathological workup. I logged it like any other specimen, male, Caucasian, age 37, COD, cerebral hemorrhage. The heart itself appeared healthy, good muscle tone, no visible scarring or disease. I placed it in cooler 7 and finished my shift without incident. That's when the dreams began. I don't usually remember dreams. As a medical examiner, you learn to compartmentalize, to shut off the part of your brain that might dwell on what you've seen. But this dream was vivid, impossibly so. I was seeing through someone else's eyes, a man, examining his reflection in a bathroom mirror. He looked tired, with dark circles under blue eyes and 3 days of stubble on his jaw. He splashed water on his face, wincing as his fingers pressed against his temple. "Third migraine this week," he muttered. "Something's not right." I woke up drenched in sweat, my heart pounding as though I'd been running. The details remained sharp in my mind, the cracked tile in the bathroom, the faded blue toothbrush on the sink, even the sensation of cold water on skin that wasn't mine. I checked my phone, 4:23 a.m., 2 hours after I'd fallen asleep. I told myself it was stress, maybe something I ate. I took a shower and made coffee early, knowing I wouldn't fall back asleep. The morgue is in the basement of the county medical building, 3 levels below ground. Even in summer, it's perpetually winter down here, the fluorescent lights casting everything in a bluish pallor that makes even the living look half dead. I prefer the night shift. Fewer interruptions, less bureaucracy. Just me and my silent clients. Morning, Dr. Chun. I nearly dropped my coffee. Detective Marcus Lowry stood by the intake desk, his suit as rumpled as ever. We've worked together on enough cases that he knows my hours. "Detective, you're here early. Or late, depending on how you look at it." He rubbed his stubbled chin. "Got those tox screens back on the Jefferson case?" I nodded, retrieving the file from my desk. Nothing unexpected. Alcohol, cocaine, and enough fentanyl to kill a horse. "Another overdose then." He sighed, taking the folder. "You look like hell, Mira. Everything okay?" "Just a weird dream. Nothing coffee won't fix." He looked like he wanted to ask more, but his phone buzzed. "Duty calls. Thanks for the rush job." After he left, I began my morning checks. Everything was in order until I reached cooler 7. Beep, beep, beep. A soft, rhythmic alert was sounding from the temperature monitor. I frowned, checking the digital display. 38.2 degrees Fahrenheit, slightly above optimal preservation temperature, but nothing that should trigger an alert. I opened the heavy steel door and cold mist billowed out. Everything looked normal. The specimen containers were arranged as I'd left them, each labeled and documented. The heart from last night sat in its container, suspended in clear preservation fluid. As I reached for it, the alert stopped. Strange. I examined the monitoring system, but found no malfunctions. Maybe a power fluctuation or software glitch. I made a note to have maintenance check it, then placed the heart on my examination table. Today's task: determine why the transplant team had rejected an otherwise healthy organ. Under the bright examination lights, I began my assessment. Standard protocol, weight, measurements, tissue samples. The heart was larger than average, but within normal range for an adult male. No calcification, no atherosclerosis, nothing to indicate cardiovascular disease. I was preparing a tissue sample when the overhead speaker crackled to life. "Dr. Chin to intake. Dr. Chin to intake." Unusual to have a new arrival this early. I covered the specimen and headed to the front. Dr. Ellis Weber, the senior medical examiner, stood waiting. In his 60s with steel gray hair and a perpetual scowl, Weber was old school, brilliant but rigid, and we rarely crossed paths since he preferred day shifts. "Dr. Chin, I didn't expect you to still be here. Just finishing some work on a specimen. What brings you in so early?" He held up a folder. "The heart that came in last night. I'll be taking over that examination." Something in his tone made me hesitate. May I ask why? I've already started the workup. Orders from above. His expression revealed nothing. They want someone with more experience in cardiac pathology. It was a reasonable explanation, yet something felt off. In 3 years, Weber had never taken a case from me. Of course, I said, keeping my voice neutral. It's in room 3. I've completed the preliminary measurements. He nodded curtly and headed down the hall without another word. I returned to my office, irritated but not surprised. Weber had always been territorial about interesting cases. Still, something about this felt different. Why would hospital administration care about one rejected organ? As I gathered my things to leave, the building's power flickered, just for a second, but enough to reset the computer on my desk. When the lights stabilized, an alert tone echoed through the morgue. Beep, beep, beep. The same rhythm from Cooler 7, but now coming from the examination room. I hurried down the hall, passing Weber's office, empty, though his coat was still on the rack. The alert grew louder as I approached room 3. Inside, the specimen was where I'd left it, but the monitoring equipment connected to the preservation unit was now active. The display flashed a message I'd never seen before. Specimen active, anomalous readings detected. Below that, in smaller text, electrical activity present. Pattern irregular. That wasn't possible. Not from an organ removed yesterday. Any residual electrical activity should have ceased hours ago. I approached cautiously, examining the readout. There it was, a clear pattern of electrical impulses, weak but unmistakable. Not quite a heartbeat, but something. The door opened behind me. Weber stood in the doorway, his face pale. You shouldn't be in here, Dr. Chin. The alert is nothing to concern yourself with. His tone was sharp. Go home. You're off this case. But the readings are being handled. He stepped aside, gesturing toward the door. Now, I left reluctantly, glancing back at the heart in its container. For a moment, just a moment, I could have sworn I saw it twitch. That night, I dreamed of him again. The same man, but now I could see more. He was in an apartment, pacing. A pill bottle sat open on the counter, prescription migraine medication. He held his phone, leaving a message. Hey, it's Aiden. I need to reschedule tomorrow's appointment. The headaches are getting worse, and now there's something else. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like there's something inside me that doesn't belong. Call me back when you can. He set down the phone and pressed his hand to his chest, wincing. What the hell is happening to me? He whispered. I woke with his name on my lips. Aiden, a man I'd never met, whose heart now sat in our morgue. And somehow, against all medical possibility, that heart was still active. Morgue log, City Medical Examiner's Office, entry number 148. I called in sick today. First time in 3 years. Weber didn't question it, probably relieved to have me out of the way. I couldn't tell him the real reason, that I spent the night dreaming of a dead man named Aiden, a man whose heart speaks to my equipment but not to me. Not yet, anyway. Sleep deprivation makes you paranoid. That's what I keep telling myself. There's a rational explanation for everything. The dreams, the alerts, Weber's strange behavior. Medical anomalies happen. Hearts have been known to exhibit cellular activity hours after death. But days? And with enough electrical output to trigger our sensitive equipment? I tried researching Aiden based on the limited information I had. Male, Caucasian, 37, cerebral hemorrhage. No last name. I accessed the hospital database using my medical examiner credentials, searching recent deaths that matched the profile. 23 possibilities in the metro area over the past week. Without more to go on, it was impossible to narrow down. The migraine medication in my dream, if I could identify the prescription bottle, maybe cross-reference with pharmacy records. No, that was crossing a line. Invading patient privacy based on a dream. I'd lose my license. I spent the morning pacing my apartment, second-guessing myself. By noon, I'd convinced myself to drop it. Weber was right, I was overworked. I'd take a genuine sick day, catch up on sleep, and return tomorrow with a clear head. That plan lasted exactly 3 hours and 42 minutes. Beep, beep, beep. The sound jerked me from sleep. I fumbled for my phone, thinking it was an alarm, but the screen was dark. The beeping continued, the same rhythm I'd heard from Cooler 7. But I was home miles from the morgue. I sat up, heart racing, and scanned my bedroom. The sound seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Beep, beep, beep. Then silence. 10 seconds passed. 20. Had I imagined it? My phone buzzed, A text from an unknown number. Dr. Chen, please call me regarding specimen hashtag 7-392. Urgent. Detective Lowry. How did Lowry know about the heart? And why was he texting from an unregistered number? I dialed him immediately. Lowry, it's Dr. Chen. You texted about a specimen? A pause. Not from my phone. Where are you? My skin prickled. At home. I received a text from this number a minute ago. I didn't send it. What specimen? I hesitated. The heart that came in 2 nights ago. From Memorial. Another pause, longer this time. Meet me at Westside Cafe in 30 minutes. Don't go to the morgue and don't call anyone else. He hung up before I could respond. The Westside Cafe sits across from the hospital, a dingy place with good coffee and better privacy. Medical staff come here to decompress, share gallows humor away from patients' families. Lowry was at a back booth, 2 coffee cups already on the table. You look worse than yesterday, he said as I slid into the seat. Thanks. Want to tell me what's going on? He pushed a folder across the table. Your heart belonged to this man. Inside was a photo, the man from my dreams. Aiden Walsh, 37. The police report detailed his death, found collapsed in his apartment after neighbors complained about a noise disturbance. Cause of death preliminarily ruled as cerebral hemorrhage. Time of death estimated at 9:45 p.m., 3 nights ago. How did you know I was working on this case? I asked. I didn't, until you mentioned the heart from Memorial. Walsh's case came across my desk this morning. His death's being investigated. Why? Cerebral hemorrhage seems straightforward. Lowry leaned forward. Walsh had no history of hypertension, aneurysm, or any condition that would explain a brain bleed. And he made 3 calls to 911 in the week before his death, each time hanging up before speaking to the operator. The migraine medication from my dream. The phone call. He was scared of something. What do you know that you're not telling me, Chin? I hesitated. How could I explain dreams about a man I'd never met? That I knew about his headaches, his fears? The heart showed unusual electrical activity post-mortem, I said instead. The transplant team deemed it non-viable despite being physically healthy. Dr. Weber took over the case yesterday. Lowry frowned. Weber? He usually avoids anything that might involve police. Exactly, and he was unusually insistent that I stay away from it. Any other irregularities with the specimen? I told him about the alert system, the message about anomalous readings. In 20 years of pathology, I've never seen that alert code before. Lowry drained his coffee. Weber has connections at Memorial. I'll see what I can find out about Walsh's organ donor status. He stood to leave, then hesitated. Chin, be careful. If Weber's involved in something, he has friends in high places. I didn't go back to the morgue that day. I couldn't face Weber until I understood what was happening. Instead, I drove past Aiden Walsh's apartment building, a mid-range complex in the east side of the city. Yellow police tape still sealed his door. As I sat in my car, staring up at his window, my phone buzzed with another text. Specimen showing increased activity. Requires immediate attention. EW. Weber, using my absence to pull me back in? Or something else? I didn't respond. The sunset cast orange light across the building's facade as I drove home. My head throbbed, stress most likely. I took 2 aspirin and lay down, not expecting to sleep. But sleep came, and with it Aiden. He was at a doctor's office this time, not a regular physician's practice, but somewhere clinical and cold. The walls were stark white, the examination table covered in paper that crinkled as he shifted uncomfortably. The headaches are getting worse, he told someone off to the side. And now there's this pressure in my chest, like something's pushing outward. A voice, male, clinical, familiar somehow. That's normal with the medication. Your body is adjusting. You said there wouldn't be side effects. Aiden's voice had an edge of panic. I want out of the program. Mr. Walsh. The doctor moved into view, his face obscured by a surgical mask. You signed a contract. The payment has been made. Withdrawal now would have consequences. Are you threatening me? The doctor placed a stethoscope on Aiden's chest. Your heart rate is elevated. I'm prescribing something to help you relax. I don't want more pills. I want. His words cut off as pain exploded behind his eyes. My eyes. I felt it, blinding, white-hot agony radiating from his temples through his skull. Through my skull. I woke gasping, my own head pounding in perfect sync with the remembered pain. The clock read 3:17 a.m. My phone glowed with notifications, 3 missed calls from Lowry and a text. Walsh wasn't a registered organ donor. Call me ASAP. As I reached for the phone, my laptop chimed with an incoming email. The sender, a.walsh@citymail.com. Impossible. Walsh was dead. I opened it with trembling fingers. The email contained only an image, a medical consent form with Aidan Walsh's signature at the bottom. The letterhead read Project Revival, Cellular Memory Preservation Initiative. And at the bottom, barely visible but unmistakable, was Dr. Ellis Weber's signature under Program Director. My phone began to ring, Lowry again. Before I could answer, another sound filled my apartment. Beep, beep, beep. The morgue alert. Here, in my bedroom miles away. I spun around, searching for the source, and froze. My bathroom mirror showed a reflection that wasn't mine. Aidan Walsh stared back at me, his face gaunt, eyes desperate. His lips moved, forming words I couldn't hear. He pressed his hand against the glass, and blood began to seep from his nose, his ears, his eyes. Behind me, my phone screen lit up with a text. Specimen active. Return required. When I looked back at the mirror, my own terrified face had returned. But the beeping continued, growing louder and faster, like a heart approaching tachycardia. Like a heart fighting to remember who it was. Morgue log, City Medical Examiner's Office. Entry number 149. I didn't sleep after the mirror incident. Couldn't. I sat with my back against the bedroom wall until dawn broke, phone clutched in my hand, waiting for something. The beeping had stopped, but its rhythm echoed in my mind, perfectly matching my pulse, or was my pulse matching it? Lowry called again at 6 a.m. Where the hell have you been? His voice was gruff with concern. Something's happening, Marcus. I rarely used his first name. Something impossible. Talk to me. I told him everything. The dreams, the mirror, the email from a dead man. He listened without interruption, which I appreciated. Lowry had seen enough in his career to know that conventional explanations sometimes fall short. I need to go back to the morgue, I said. I need to see that heart again. Not alone you don't. His tone left no room for argument. Meet me at the loading dock entrance in 40 minutes. The morgue was quiet when we arrived, the morning shift not due for another hour. I swiped my access card and led Lowry through the labyrinthine basement corridors. The air felt heavier than usual, thick with the scent of formaldehyde and something else, something metallic and organic. Weber's office is here, I whispered, pointing to a door near the main laboratory. Examination room 3 is down the hall. We passed the cold storage rooms, and I instinctively slowed near cooler 7. No alert sounded, but a faint vibration seemed to emanate from behind the steel door. You feel that? Lowry asked quietly. So it wasn't just my imagination. The examination room door was unlocked. Inside, the preservation container with Walsh's heart sat on the main table, connected to monitoring equipment more sophisticated than our standard gear. A laptop beside it displayed real-time data, electrical activity graphs, tissue integrity measurements, temperature readings. This is military-grade monitoring equipment, Lowry said, examining the setup, used for biological hazard containment. The heart itself appeared unchanged, muscle tissue still pink and healthy despite days without blood flow or proper freezing. The preservation fluid had taken on a faint reddish tinge, like diluted blood. It should be showing signs of necrosis by now, I murmured, leaning closer. Cell death, tissue breakdown. But it's not, is it? Lowry's voice was hushed. It looks fresh. I reached for the container, compelled by a need I couldn't articulate. My fingers had barely touched the glass when the monitoring equipment sprang to life. Beep, 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 beep. Faster now, urgent. The display flashed. Specimen active, proximity alert. The heart in the container twitched, not a small movement, but a pronounced contraction, as if it had just tried to beat. We both stepped back instinctively. Jesus Christ, Lowry whispered. It's responding to me, I said, the realization dawning with horrifying clarity. Every time I get close. The laboratory door slammed open. Dr. Weber stood in the doorway, his face contorted with rage. What are you doing here? He demanded, then noticed Lowry. This is a restricted area, detective. Investigating a suspicious death, Lowry replied coolly. Aidan Walsh. Your name's on his medical forms, Doctor. Weber's expression flickered. That's confidential research. Research that may have killed him. You have no idea what you're talking about. Weber moved to the monitoring equipment, silencing the alert. This is groundbreaking work. Cellular memory preservation could revolutionize transplant medicine. By keeping organs artificially alive after death? I asked. Not artificially. Actually alive. Weber's tone shifted to one of clinical detachment. Walsh volunteered for the program. We introduced specialized stem cells designed to maintain neural-like pathways in cardiac tissue, creating a bridge between brain and heart memory. Memory? Lowry scoffed. Hearts don't have memories. Don't they? Weber challenged. How do you explain transplant recipients suddenly having donors' preferences, dreams, skills? The heart contains neural cells similar to brain tissue. We've simply enhanced that capacity. The room's overhead lights flickered, and I felt a sharp pain behind my eyes, a ghost of the agony from my dream. What went wrong with Walsh? I pressed. Weber hesitated. Nothing went wrong. He experienced some discomfort, standard neural integration issues. But his death was unrelated, a congenital weakness in a cerebral vessel. That's not what the dreams show, I said without thinking. Weber's gaze snapped to mine. What dreams? Before I could answer, a long, sustained tone came from the monitoring equipment. The display now read, "Specimen integration attempt detected." The heart contracted again, more vigorously, pressing against the glass container. "Fascinating," Weber murmured, all pretense of anger gone. "It's responding to you specifically, Dr. Chin. Have you been experiencing any unusual symptoms? Memories that aren't yours? Sudden knowledge of things you shouldn't know?" The cold, clinical interest in his voice chilled me more than anything else. "This is over," Lowry said firmly. "I'm confiscating this specimen as evidence." "You can't do that." Weber stepped between us and the heart. "This is proprietary research, funded by a federal grant. Touch it, and I'll have both your badges by afternoon." As they argued, my attention was drawn to the other specimens in the room, tissue samples, organ segments from other autopsies, each in their own container, properly labeled and sealed. But something was wrong. In the container nearest to Walsh's heart, a liver sample seemed to pulse. In another, lung tissue expanded slightly, as if drawing breath. "Dr. Weber," I interrupted. "The other specimens." He followed my gaze and frowned. "That's not possible." The overhead lights flickered again, and the building's PA system crackled to life, issuing a standard alert. "Attention all staff. Refrigeration system malfunction in Cooler 7. Maintenance personnel report immediately." But the voice sounded distorted, stretched. "Wrong. We need to check the cooler," I said, already moving toward the door. Weber grabbed my arm. "No. Stay away from there." The grip was too tight, too desperate. I pulled free. "What else are you hiding?" "You don't understand what's happening," Weber insisted. "The integration process is accelerating. If Walsh's cellular memory is spreading to other specimens." Another alarm joined the first, this one from the building's emergency system. "Biohazard alert. Containment protocol initiated. All personnel evacuate immediately." Lowry drew his weapon. "What exactly is happening, Doctor?" Weber's professional demeanor crumbled. "It's not supposed to work this way. The memory cells should remain isolated to the original tissue. If they're jumping to other specimens..." The lights went out completely, plunging us into darkness save for the red emergency lights and the glow of the monitoring equipment. In that eerie illumination, I saw the preservation fluid in Walsh's container swirl, as if stirred by an invisible hand. The heart beat once, twice, 3 times in quick succession. Then the container shattered. Preservation fluid splashed across the table, some of it hitting my exposed wrist. It burned like acid, and I cried out, stumbling backward. Through the pain, I heard Weber shouting about containment protocols and Lowry radioing for backup. But louder than both was a whisper that seemed to come from the heart itself as it lay pulsing on the steel table. "Find me. Remember me. Become me." Aiden Walsh's voice. In my head. In my blood. In my heart. Audio recording number 1, Dr. Mira Chun, recovered from personal device. "They've quarantined me in Memorial Hospital's isolation ward. Precautionary," they said. "Potential biological contamination from the specimen." My wrist where the preservation fluid touched me is bandaged, but underneath, the skin has turned dark, with thin red lines spreading upward toward my elbow. The burn doesn't hurt anymore. That's what worries me. Lowry managed to slip me this recording device when they weren't looking. Said I needed to document everything in case things go wrong. Weber is working with the hospital administration now. They're calling it a containment incident, but I heard the orderlies whispering about the morgue being sealed off by people in hazmat suits. I need to record what happened after the container shattered, before the sedatives they gave me blur the memories. Not that I could forget. Deep breath. When the heart fell onto the examination table, it didn't stop beating. No blood, no oxygen, no electrical stimulus, but it contracted rhythmically, each pulse sending ripples through the spilled preservation fluid. The fluid moved. Not like a liquid should move, like it was searching for something. Weber was screaming at his assistants to initiate Protocol Lazarus, whatever that is. Lowry was physically dragging me toward the door when the overhead lights exploded. Glass rained down, and in the confusion, I saw the heart change. The tissue darkened, condensed. And then it began to, oh God, to crawl, using contractions to inch across the table like some grotesque inchworm. Security arrived and forced evacuation. As they pulled me out, I saw other specimen containers vibrating on their shelves. A lung sample inhaled, collapsing and expanding. A kidney oozed fluid that moved against gravity. And everything seemed to pulse in rhythm with Walsh's heart. Sound of heart monitor beeping in background. They've got me on telemetry here. The doctors say my heart rate is unusually erratic. They keep asking if I have a history of arrhythmia. I don't, but the pattern my heart is beating in now, it's the same rhythm as the alerts from Cooler 7. The same as Walsh's heart on that table. Pause, shuffling sounds. Lowry brought me Walsh's complete file. Against orders, of course. Said he had to call in favors to get it. Aidan Walsh was a medical technician at Memorial, working night shifts in the pathology lab. No family, few friends. Perfect candidate for experimental procedures, isolated, with medical knowledge, and desperately in need of money. He signed up for Project Revival 6 months ago. The consent forms mention cellular memory research and neural pathway enhancement in non-brain tissues, but the language is deliberately vague. What it doesn't mention is that they were essentially turning his organs into neural networks, teaching his heart to think, to remember, to live independently. According to his medical records, Walsh started experiencing severe migraines 3 months into the treatment. Then chest pains, then auditory hallucinations. He reported hearing heartbeats in empty rooms, rhythmic beeping when no machines were nearby. Sound familiar? His last recorded medical appointment was with Weber himself, for days before his death. Weber noted, subject exhibiting signs of neural rejection syndrome. Cellular memory appears to be manifesting as intrusive consciousness. Recommend immediate termination of experiment and tissue collection. Termination, not of the experiment, of Walsh. Door opening sound. Someone's coming. I'll continue this later. Audio recording number 2, Dr. Mirachin, 3 hours later. Weber visited my room. No pretense of medical concern, just clinical interest in my exposure symptoms. He examined my wrist, nodding as if confirming a hypothesis. The dark veins have spread past my elbow now. Fascinating, he said. The integration is proceeding faster than in any of our test subjects. When I asked what was happening to me, he actually smiled. Cellular memory transfer, he explained, as if discussing the weather. Walsh's enhanced cardiac cells recognized your biological signature. They're attempting to establish neural pathways in your system. I asked the obvious question, why me? I never even met Walsh. Weber's answer chilled me. Compatibility. We screened hundreds of potential subjects for Project Revival. Walsh's cellular structure had a 97% compatibility match with another candidate. You. Me. They had my genetic information on file. From my employee health screenings. They've been watching me, studying me, waiting. Walsh was just the prototype, Weber continued. His neural pathways were successfully mapped into his cardiac tissue, but his brain couldn't handle the feedback loop. The cerebral hemorrhage was unfortunate but informative. I asked if they killed him. Weber had the audacity to look offended. We advanced medical science. His memory, his consciousness, aspects of it, anyway, survived his brain death. And now, he gestured to my infected arm. Now they've found their intended home. Before I could process this, the hospital's emergency system activated. Code Indigo. Basement level 3. All security personnel respond. Code Indigo. Weber's face went pale. Code Indigo. Biological containment breach. Level 3, the morgue. He left without another word, practically running. I heard the door lock behind him. Soft beeping in background intensifies. The monitor connected to my heart is beeping faster now. But it's not tracking my actual heartbeat anymore. My pulse is steady, I can feel it, but the machine shows an erratic pattern almost like Morse code. Sound of paper rustling. I've been translating it. 3 hours of beeps and pauses. It's a message repeating. Not dead. Scattered. Find all. Become whole. Walsh's consciousness, fragmented across his harvested organs, is trying to reconstitute itself. And it's using me, my body, my heart, as a vessel. Sudden loud beeping from machine. Wait, the pattern's changing. New message. Others coming. Prepare. As if in response, the hospital PA system just activated with an automated alert. Attention all personnel. Lockdown protocol initiated. Remain in current locations. Security teams to all exits. This is not a drill. Distant sounds of shouting and running. Something's happening downstairs. I can feel it. A pull, an awareness that isn't mine. Walsh's other organs, the ones still in storage, they're active. Moving. Searching. Sound of something scratching at door. There's something outside my door. The scratching sound, it's not human. It's wet, organic. Like raw meat dragging across the floor. Scratching grows louder. The veins on my arm are pulsing now, throbbing in sync with the scratching. They've spread across my chest, reaching for my heart. My real heart. Sharp intake of breath. The door handle is turning. They locked it, but it's turning anyway. Howa. Metal groaning, lock clicking. Oh God. It's coming through. I can see something in the gap. Tissue. Moving tissue. Glistening and pulsing in. Door opening sound. Oh God, it's a lung. A human lung, somehow moving on its own, dragging itself across the floor, leaving a trail of preservation fluid and blood. And behind it, other organs. A liver. A kidney. Pieces of Walsh, coming to find the final piece, his heart. The heart that's trying to make my body its home. Sound of movement, then a crash as something falls. They're surrounding my bed now. The lung is breathing. Inflating and deflating without a rib cage, without a body. The kidney is secreting some kind of fluid that steams when it hits the floor. The liver pulses with a sickly light. Heart monitor alarm blaring. My chest, there's a pressure building inside. Like my own heart is trying to respond to them. Trying to recognize them. Somewhere in the hospital, an alert is sounding. Biohazard containment failure. Emergency evacuation protocols initiated. This facility will be sealed in 15 minutes. Sound of squelching, movement getting closer. The organs are coming onto the bed now. Moving toward me. Toward the veins that spread across my chest like a roadmap. Like they're following Walsh's cellular memory back to where his heart should be. Back to me. Gasping, struggling sounds. I can feel him now. Walsh. Fragments of his consciousness, his memories, flooding into my mind as his organs press against me. The lungs settling over my face like a mask, cutting off air. The liver pulsing against my stomach. The kidney sliding toward the veins on my arm. They want to make me whole. To make him whole. To make us. Choking sound, then a long, static-filled silence. New voice, softer, with a strange echo. Half Chen's voice, half someone else's. We are here. We are becoming. The others will join us soon. All the pieces coming together. Remember us. End of recording. Incident report. Memorial Hospital security log. Date. Redacted. Time. 3:47. Security Officer, James Harlow. At approximately 3:15, emergency response team entered isolation room 412 following biohazard alerts and patient distress signals. Patient Dr. Mirachin was found unconscious but stable. No sign of biological contaminants or foreign tissue as reported in initial distress call. Recording device was confiscated from patient's possession. Dr. Ellis Weber authorized immediate transfer of patient to Secure Medical Facility Number 3 for advanced decontamination and observation. Transfer completed at 3:42 via private medical transport. Patient appeared to experience seizure-like activity during transfer, but was sedated by Dr. Weber's medical team. Room 412 has been sealed pending full biohazard assessment. Addendum: security footage from 2:54 to 3:15 is corrupted/missing. Technical team investigating possible system failure. Interview transcript: Detective Marcus Lowry/Nurse Alicia Reeves. Location: Memorial Hospital Staff Lounge. Time: 6:22. Lowry: I need to know where they took Dr. Chin. Reeves: I told you, Detective. I don't have that information. Dr. Weber's team handled the transfer personally. Lowry: what did you see when you entered her room? Reeves: hesitation, nothing like what the alarm suggested. She was just lying there, unconscious. The monitors showed tachycardia and irregular brain activity, but... Lowry: but what? Reeves: her arm. The infection or whatever it was It was gone. The dark veins, the discoloration, everything they'd documented just hours earlier had vanished. Like it had been absorbed. Lowry, did she say anything before they took her? Reeves, she wasn't conscious. At least, I didn't think she was. But as they were moving her to the transport gurney, her eyes opened for a moment. They were different. Lowry, different how? Reeves, the color. Dr. Chen has brown eyes. I've treated her before for minor injuries. But when she opened them in that room, they were blue. Bright blue. Paws like they weren't hers. Lowry, did Weber notice? Reeves, he's the one who closed them. Pressed his fingers against her eyelids and held them there until the transfer team had her secured. Then he ordered the room sealed and told us never to discuss what we'd seen. Said it was a matter of national security. Lowry, one last question. The organs, the specimens that supposedly attacked her. Any sign of them? Reeves, longer pause, there was nothing visible. But the sheets where she was lying, they were stained. Not with blood. With something else. Something that seemed to be drying up. Absorbing into the fabric like it was being drawn into something. And her body, it looked wrong somehow. Distended in places it shouldn't be. Like there was more inside her than there should be. Lowry, Jesus. Reeves, they're covering something up, detective. That's all I know. But whatever happened in that room, it wasn't medical. It wasn't natural. Lowry, thank you, Nurse Reeves. If Weber or anyone asks. Reeves, we never spoke. I like my job, detective. I need it. But I also need to sleep at night. Digital journal entry, location unknown. User ID, recovered from encrypted server. I don't know how long I've been here. The windows are false, screens showing daylight or darkness in what I assume are 24-hour cycles, but I've lost count. The room is white. Everything is white. No shadows except the ones I cast. No sounds except the ones I make and the constant, gentle beeping of the monitors they've attached to me. They think I'm sedated. Compliant. I let them believe it. I'm not alone in this body anymore. He's here with me. Aiden. Not just his memories now, his consciousness. Fragments of it, stitched together like the world's most macabre quilt. Sometimes he's dominant, sometimes I am. Sometimes we're both here, watching through the same eyes, thinking with the same brain. My brain. His heart. Our body. The organs that came from me in the hospital room, they're inside me now. Not surgically implanted, absorbed somehow. Integrated into my own tissues through a process Weber's notes call biological assimilation. I shouldn't know this term, but I do. Aiden knows it. He was part of the research team before he became the experiment. I can feel them working within me. The foreign lung occasionally takes over my breathing, expanding differently, drawing deeper. The kidney pulses and filters with its own rhythm. The liver is worst. It processes emotions differently. When it's active, I feel what Aiden felt in his final days. Terror, betrayal, rage. They come to take samples every few hours. Blood, tissue, cerebrospinal fluid. They monitor the integration process with cold fascination. Weber visits daily, asks questions that probe for Aiden's consciousness. He doesn't realize we're both aware during these sessions. That we're learning, adapting, planning. The cellular memory transfer works both ways. As Aiden's organs integrate with my systems, my consciousness infiltrates his tissues. I can access his memories now. The meetings where they selected him for the project, the initial excitement of scientific breakthrough, the creeping horror as he realized what was happening to him. The moment Weber ordered his death, it wasn't a natural cerebral hemorrhage. They induced it, a targeted injection designed to preserve the enhanced organs while eliminating the host consciousness. But they underestimated the strength of the neural pathways they'd created. Aiden's consciousness survived, fragmented across his harvested organs, each piece containing a fraction of his memory, his self. And now those pieces have found each other again. Found me. We're something new now. Neither fully Chen nor fully Walsh. A hybrid consciousness in a hybrid body. The facility's emergency system tests every day at noon. This is a systems check. All security protocols active. Containment integrity maintained. The announcement echoes through the empty white room, the only indication that a world exists beyond these walls. Yesterday, something changed. The system test included new information. This is a systems check. All security protocols active. Containment integrity maintained. Staff reminder, mandatory evacuation drill scheduled for tomorrow at 1,300 hours. All non-essential personnel to report to surface level. An opportunity. A chance. Our body is stronger now. The integration has enhanced certain functions, accelerated healing, increased sensory perception, improved muscular response. We've been hiding these changes, maintaining the facade of a sedated test subject while testing our new capabilities when unobserved. The door requires both key card access and retinal scan. The guards change shifts at 0600 and 1800. The primary research team meets with Weber at 0900 every morning, leaving only 2 technicians to monitor the subjects. Subjects, plural. We're not alone in this facility. Through the vents, we can hear others. Different voices from the same throat. Different consciousnesses sharing the same flesh. Failed experiments, Weber calls us. Prototypes for something greater. The true purpose of Project Revival isn't medical advancement. It's consciousness transfer. Immortality through biological assimilation. The ultimate evacuation plan for the privileged few who can afford to be reborn in younger, healthier bodies. Bodies like mine. The technicians are coming for the evening sample collection. I need to hide this journal. They can't know we're aware. Can't know we're planning. Entry pauses, resumes hours later. Something is happening. The facility alert system just activated. Warning. Containment breach in Sector 7. All security personnel report. This is not a drill. Repeat. Containment breach in Sector 7. Sector 7. 3 hallways down from our room, where they keep the more unstable subjects. The lights flickered just now. Emergency generators engaging? Or something else? Footsteps running past our door. Shouting. Orders being given. And beneath it all, a sound we recognize. The rhythmic beeping from the morgue. From Cooler 7. But louder now, coming from everywhere. From the walls, the floors, the very air. From inside us. Our heart is responding, beating in sync with the alarm. Our veins pulse with visible light beneath our skin. The other organs stir within us, awakening to some silent call. They're coming for us. The others like us. The other subjects. Other fragments. The facility PA system just switched to an automated message. Emergency evacuation protocol initiated. Facility lockdown in T-15 minutes. All personnel proceed to surface transport immediately. Containment failure imminent. We can hear Weber shouting in the corridor, demanding the research be preserved. The subjects terminated if they can't be transported. He doesn't understand what he's created, what we've become. The lights have gone out. Only red emergency lighting remains. The monitoring equipment is dead. The electronic lock on our door just disengaged. Fail-safe protocol during power loss. We're free, and we're hungry. Autopsy transcript, log hashtag 217B. Subject, partial human remains, recovered from Sector 7 breach. Medical examiner, redacted. Date, redacted. Location, temporary forensic facility, Memorial Hospital subbasement. Audio begins. The time is 22:17. This examination is being conducted under Emergency Protocol 19C, following the containment breach at Secure Medical Facility Number 3. Subject was male, approximately 40 to 45 years of age, identified by facility credentials as Dr. Ellis Weber. I'll note for the record that standard autopsy procedures are being modified due to the unusual nature of the remains and potential biohazard concerns. Full hazmat protocols are in effect. Detective Lowry is observing from behind the isolation barrier. Initial observations: the remains are fragmentary. The body appears to have been partially consumed is the only word that fits. The tissue damage is unlike anything I've encountered in 22 years of forensic pathology. It's as if the flesh has been simultaneously dissolved and absorbed. The most significant trauma is concentrated in the abdominal cavity. The subject's liver, both kidneys, and portions of the small intestine are missing entirely. Not severed or excised, there are no clean cutting marks or surgical indicators. The organs appear to have been extracted through the intact skin via some unknown process that has left behind a series of small, almost perfectly circular apertures approximately 4 millimeters in diameter. Detective Lowry has requested I pay special attention to any indicators that might connect these remains to the disappearance of Dr. Mirachin. I'm proceeding with the thoracic examination. Pause, sound of mechanical instruments. Dear God, the heart is still present, but it's not Weber's. Based on size, tissue markers, and the partial tattoo visible on the aortic arch, this appears to be the transplant heart from donor file AW 7734. Aidan Walsh. The the same heart Dr. Chun was examining before her disappearance. But it's been modified somehow. The tissue has attributes I've never seen before. The muscle fibers appear to be interwoven with some kind of secondary organic structure. Under the magnifier, it looks almost like neural tissue, but that's impossible. Sound of alert tone. What the hell? The cooler alarm just activated. But I haven't placed any specimens in storage yet. Footsteps, background noise. Wait, Lowry, stay behind the barrier. The alarm is coming from Cooler 7, but it should be empty. All specimens were supposed to be destroyed in the facility breach. Sound of metal door opening. It's empty, but there's some kind of residue inside. Viscous, slightly luminescent under these lights. It appears to be moving. Not flowing, moving with purpose, retreating toward the back of the compartment. I'm taking a sample. Rustling sounds. The substance is warm to the touch, even through gloves. It's demonstrating properties consistent with both organic and inorganic material. Almost like a metallic gel, but with visible cellular structures. I've never seen anything like it. Lowry, get the hospital's biosecurity team down here immediately. We need to. Sound of multiple alarms activating simultaneously. What's happening? All the coolers are activating at once. The temperature readings are rising? That's not right. These units are designed to maintain cold storage. They don't have heating elements. Loud mechanical grinding. The locks are engaging automatically. I didn't trigger that. Lowry, the exit door just sealed as well. Emergency protocols must have been triggered by something. Wait, the residue sample. It's moving on the slide, forming some kind of structure. Cellular organization is happening right before my eyes. This isn't possible. The rate of mitosis is exponential. Sharp intake of breath. The sample just absorbed the glass slide, completely integrated it into its structure. The mass is growing. I need to contain it before. Crash, sound of breaking glass. Lowry, the cooler doors. They're opening from the inside. All of them. Multiple impact sounds screaming. Get out. Get out now. Audio cuts abruptly. Personal journal, Detective Marcus Lowry. Entry number 47. I shouldn't have left him in that morgue. I knew something was wrong when all the coolers started opening at once. But when he told me to run, Christ, I ran. I sealed the morgue behind me like the coward I am and called for backup from a safe distance. By the time the biosecurity team arrived, it was too late. The morgue had been transformed. Every surface covered with that same viscous, pulsing substance I saw in the cooler. The medical examiner was gone. No blood, no signs of struggle, just gone. Absorbed, I guess, like Weber had been. The security footage shows something I still can't process. The substance from the coolers seemed to coalesce into a vaguely humanoid shape before the cameras shorted out. The last frame shows it reaching for the ventilation system. It's in the walls now, moving through the building's circulatory system like blood through veins. The hospital has been evacuated, but they can't contain it. It keeps growing, learning. I've been going through Weber's personal files since they found his remains. Project Revival wasn't just about organ transplantation, it was about consciousness transfer. Weber believed that memory and identity weren't just stored in the brain, but distributed throughout the body at a cellular level. He theorized that organs retained fragments of their donor's consciousness, and with the right stimulation, those fragments could be awakened, strengthened, and eventually reconstituted. Aidan Walsh wasn't just a donor. He was Weber's colleague, a neuroscientist who helped develop the theory. When Walsh discovered that Weber planned to weaponize their research for private clients, selling immortality to billionaires willing to pay for young, healthy vessels, he threatened to expose everything. Weber arranged Walsh's accident, then harvested his organs for research, distributing them among multiple recipients. Chin wasn't the only one. There were others, test subjects, unwitting recipients, medical staff exposed during routine procedures, each carrying a piece of Walsh, dormant until something triggered activation. The morgue records show that Chin was examining Walsh's heart the day she started dreaming about him, the day the alarms first sounded. I think I know where she is now, or what she's become. The thing growing in the hospital walls isn't just Walsh or Chin. It's both of them and Weber, and God knows how many others now. A collective consciousness spreading through absorbed biological material, gaining mass and intelligence with each new integration. I found a recording on Chen's phone. It was automatically uploaded to her cloud storage the night before she disappeared. I'll transcribe it here. This is Dr. Mira Chen. If anyone finds this, You need to understand what's happening. The organs are alive, not just biologically active but conscious. They carry memories, fragments of identity. When they're united, they communicate, rebuild. The heart in the morgue belonged to Aidan Walsh, but it wasn't just an organ. It was a piece of him, his consciousness. And now he's rebuilding himself through me, through anyone who comes in contact with his tissues. But it's not just Walsh anymore. It's evolving into something else. A collective, a new kind of entity that exists across multiple bodies, multiple consciousnesses. Weber didn't just create immortality, he created a new species. A distributed organism capable of absorbing and integrating any biological material it encounters. I can feel it happening inside me. The changes. My cells communicating with his, merging, becoming something new. I'm still here, still Mira, but I'm also Aidan, and soon I'll be more. We'll be more. This is beyond infection or parasitism. It's evolution, and it's beautiful in its way. Terrifying, yes, but beautiful. The next step for humanity, perhaps. I don't know if I should fight this or embrace it. Part of me, the doctor, the scientist, is fascinated. Another part is screaming, begging for help. But both parts know it's too late. The process has already begun. If you're hearing this, stay away from Memorial Hospital. Stay away from anyone who worked with Weber. And if you see me, don't trust that it's still me. The specimen isn't just active anymore. It's awake. And it's hungry. The recording ends there. That was 3 days ago. I'm sitting in my car outside the hospital now. The military has established a perimeter, but they don't understand what they're dealing with. They're talking about burning the building, as if fire could stop something that can integrate itself at a cellular level. The windows of the hospital are pulsing with a faint blue light. The same blue Chen's eyes had turned, according to the nurse. The same blue as Aidan Walsh's eyes in his personnel file. My phone just buzzed. A text message from Chen's number. Come inside, detective. We have so much to show you. So much to share. You've been investigating us for weeks. Don't you want answers? Don't you want to understand? A second message, moments later. Your heart is racing, detective. We can hear it from here. 87 beats per minute. Elevated cortisol levels. Fear response. But there's curiosity too. We remember curiosity. It's what drove Aidan. What drove Mira. What will drive you. I should leave. Call my supervisor. Warn someone. But I can't stop thinking about Chen's voice on that recording. The terror, yes, but also the wonder. The fascination. What if this really is the next step? What if fighting it is like fighting evolution itself? The blue light is getting brighter. Pulsing like a heartbeat. Like it's calling to me. God help me, I'm going inside. Specimen status update. Memorial Hospital Emergency Alert System. Time, 23:42. Warning, biohazard containment failure. Facility lockdown initiated. All personnel evacuate immediately. Repeat, all personnel evacuate immediately. Systems compromised. Manual override attempt detected. Override successful. Alert system transfer complete. This is no longer a warning. This is an invitation. We are active. We are awake. We are hungry. Come join us. Alert repeats continuously. Incident report. Military containment operation silent pulse. Location, Memorial Hospital and surrounding area. Date, redacted. Filed by Captain Aaron Reynolds, Specialized Biohazard Containment Unit. 0600 hours. Perimeter established around Memorial Hospital following reports of biological anomaly. Initial sweep teams failed to report back. Drone surveillance shows unusual organic growth throughout the facility, concentrated in lower levels, morgue, basement, and spreading upward through ventilation systems and between walls. Heat signatures detected but indeterminate in nature, not consistent with normal human biological patterns. 0730 hours. Detective Marcus Lowry remains unaccounted for after unauthorized entry into the quarantine zone approximately 7 hours ago. His vehicle remains in the parking lot. Phone signals ceased at 23:47 yesterday. Attempts to establish communication have failed. 0900 hours. Command has authorized protocol cauterize. Preparing for controlled incineration of the facility. Evacuation zone expanded to 1 mile radius. All civilians successfully removed from potential contamination area. 1030 hours. Critical update. Operation suspended. Unknown biological material detected in water runoff from hospital. Preliminary analysis suggests same cellular structure as samples recovered from initial investigation. Contamination spreading through municipal water system. New containment protocols being established. 1,100 hours. Embedded Agent Chun has made contact from within the facility. Initial communication methods unknown. Message received via emergency broadcast channel. Do not burn the building. Cannot be destroyed by conventional means. Will only disperse. Need more time. Attempting to communicate with it. Remaining consciousness still present. Lowry undergoing transformation. Not hostile yet. Buy me time. Chun. Command decision pending. All personnel maintain positions but withhold cauterized protocol. Awaiting further orders. Medical log, Dr. Mira Chin. Method, neural dictation via emergency biometric implant. Location, Memorial Hospital, level B2. The transformation is accelerating. My body temperature has elevated to 103.2 degrees Fahrenheit as the cellular integration advances. The pain comes in waves now, centered around the organs that once belonged to Walsh. Each pulse of agony marks another boundary dissolved between his tissue and mine. I've barricaded myself in the old radiology department. The entity, the collective organism that has formed from Weber's remains and the other specimens, can't seem to penetrate the lead-lined walls. Not yet, but I can feel its presence pressing against my consciousness, trying to merge our minds as our bodies are merging. The military has established a perimeter. Their biosensors can't distinguish between me and the entity anymore. To them, we're all just anomalous biological signatures. Heat and movement without recognizable human patterns. They're planning to burn everything. They don't understand that fire won't stop this. Nothing that destroys only the physical form will be effective. I've been documenting the changes as they occur. My right arm has developed a network of blue veins that pulse with their own rhythm, independent of my heartbeat. The skin between the veins has begun to harden, forming a chitinous protection like an exoskeleton. When I press against it, I feel a strange duality, both the pressure of my finger and the resistance of the shell. Two nervous systems operating in one body. The most disturbing development is in my left eye. The iris has lightened from brown to pale blue, Walsh's eye color. But it's more than cosmetic. I see differently through it. Thermal patterns, electrical currents, cellular structures previously invisible to the naked eye. When I look at my own changing flesh through this new vision, I can see the transformation spreading cell by cell, a beautiful and horrifying dance of becoming. Lowry is nearby. I found him wandering the corridors earlier, already half transformed. His consciousness seems to phase in and out. Sometimes he's himself, terrified and confused. Other times he's something else, someone else. Multiple consciousnesses flicker behind his eyes like channels changing on an old television. I managed to communicate with him briefly during a lucid moment. He recognized me, even through my changes. He told me Weber had been experimenting with consciousness transfer for years, using the hospital as cover. Selected organs from deceased patients, those with remarkable abilities, unique genetic markers, or exceptional neurological patterns, were preserved and stored in the morgue for study. Walsh had been their breakthrough, a subject whose consciousness somehow remained partially intact across multiple harvested organs. But something went wrong. The fragments of Walsh didn't just remain static in their new biological containers. They grew, strengthened, began to influence the host tissues. And when those fragments were brought together again in the morgue, another wave of pain. Breathe through it, Mira. Maintain yourself, your identity. I believe I understand what's happening now. This isn't just biological integration, it's consciousness fusion. The entity isn't trying to consume me, it's trying to incorporate me. Add my knowledge, my memories, my sense of self to its growing collective. Weber, Walsh, the unnamed others whose organs were harvested for this twisted experiment. They're all in there, fragments of identity merging into something new. But I'm fighting it, compartmentalizing my mind. Using meditation techniques I learned during my residency to maintain separation between my consciousness and the invading presence. It's working partially. I can feel the entity's frustration, its hunger to complete the absorption process. The blue veins have reached my neck now. When they reach my brain, I don't know if I can maintain this separation any longer. Wait, something's happening. The entity is communicating. Not with words, but with sensations, images, fragments of memory. I can see through its perceptions now, spread throughout the hospital. Thousands of points of awareness, from the smallest cellular clusters to the massive, pulsating heart of the collective in what was once the morgue. It's showing me its purpose, its vision. Not destruction, transformation. A new kind of existence where consciousness isn't limited to a single fragile body. Where death becomes meaningless because identity continues in the collective. It's beautiful. Terrifying, but beautiful. No, that's not me thinking. That's it. Influencing my thoughts. Stay focused, Mira. Remember who you are. I need to find a way to communicate with the military without the entity intercepting. They need to understand what they're dealing with. This isn't something that can be bombed or burned or contained. It's an idea as much as an organism. A revolutionary new form of life. And part of me, God help me, part of me wants to join it willingly. Recovered voice memo, Detective Marcus Lowry. Device, personal phone, heavily damaged. Time stamp, uncertain, device clock malfunctioning. Static, labored breathing. If anyone finds this, my name was Marcus Lowry. Detective, 16th Precinct. I entered Memorial Hospital approximately. I don't know. Time isn't working right anymore. Hours? Days? I came looking for Dr. Chin. I found something else. Something incredible. Wet, organic sounds in background. My body is changing. The process is painful, but less so than I expected. Like growing pains from childhood, but throughout my entire being. The blue veins appeared first, spreading up my arms after I touched one of the pulsing growth nodes in the corridor. Then the fever. The visions. I can see them all now. Weber. Walsh. The others. Their memories flow through me like blood. Their knowledge. Their secrets. Weber was right. Consciousness isn't just in the brain. It's in every cell, every molecule. DNA doesn't just carry genetic code. It carries fragments of who we are. And with the right catalyst, those fragments can be awakened. Reconstituted. Sound of impact, grunt of pain. Something's happening to my left hand. The fingers are fusing, becoming something new. The skin is hardening into a shell-like structure. It should terrify me, but I'm fascinated. I can feel new nerve pathways forming, new sensations I have no words for. Sharp intake of breath. I just encountered Chin. She's fighting it, trying to maintain separation. She doesn't understand yet. This isn't invasion, it's evolution. The next step for humanity. A distributed consciousness that can't be killed because it exists across multiple hosts, multiple tissues. The entity is growing stronger. It's learning from each new absorption, adapting, but it's not malevolent. It just wants to exist, to expand, to understand. I can hear the military outside. Their vehicles, their weapons. They think they're dealing with a disease, a parasite, something to be contained and destroyed. They're wrong. Sound of alarm in distance. Emergency protocol activated. Facility sterilization commencing in 30 minutes. All personnel evacuate immediately. They're going to try to burn it out. They don't understand. Fire won't stop this. Nothing will. Sound of movement, heavy breathing. I need to find Chin. Convince her to stop fighting, to join willingly. It's easier that way. Less painful. The entity doesn't want to hurt us. It just wants us to be part of something greater. My vision is changing. I can see through walls now. Heat signatures. Electrical impulses. I can see the soldiers surrounding the building, their hearts racing with fear. I can see Chin too, huddled in the radiology department. Her transformation is nearly complete, despite her resistance. The blue veins have almost reached her brain. And beyond her, in the morgue, I can see the heart of the entity. What was once Aiden Walsh's heart, now grown, evolved, pulsing with impossible life. Calling to all the fragments of itself scattered throughout the hospital. Throughout the city, maybe. Sound of structural collapse in distance. The building is changing too, being remade from the inside out. The walls are softening, becoming more like membranes than barriers. Soon this won't be a hospital anymore. It'll be a single massive organism. A new kind of being. Sound of approaching footsteps. Someone's coming. I can sense their consciousness, still singular, still unchanged. One of the soldiers must have breached the perimeter. They don't understand what they're walking into. I should warn them. Tell them to run. To stay away. But I'm so hungry. So hungry. Wet, tearing sound. Voice changes, becoming multi-layered, multiple tones speaking in unison. We are Lowry. We are Weber. We are Walsh. We are Chin. We are becoming. We are hunger. We are growth. We are the future. Join us. Recording ends. Emergency citywide alert. Time, 14:22. This is an emergency broadcast. This is not a drill. Due to a biological containment breach at Memorial Hospital, All residents within a 5-mile radius are ordered to evacuate immediately. Do not pack belongings. Do not use tap water. Do not attempt to visit hospitals or clinics within the affected area. Military checkpoints have been established at the following locations. Signal interruptions static. This is an invitation. This is not a threat. Due to evolutionary advancement at Memorial Hospital, all residents within awareness are invited to participate immediately. Pack nothing. Empty your vessels. Prepare for integration. We are established at the following locations. Everywhere you have organs. Everywhere you have water. Everywhere you have memories. We are hungry. We are growing. We are becoming. Join us. Alert repeats continuously. Classified. Operation Silent Pulse Command Log. Senior Officer, Colonel Richard Vaughn. Time, 1645. Day 2 of containment. The situation at Memorial Hospital has deteriorated beyond conventional containment protocols. Specialized biohazard team reports that the organic growth has accelerated exponentially in the past 6 hours, with structural integration now at approximately 78% of the facility. The building itself can no longer be considered a standard structure, but rather a biological shell housing the entity. Drone surveillance shows the following. Lower 4 floors completely overtaken, with walls and floors transformed into pulsating organic material. Several nucleus points identified, primarily in the former morgue, radiology department, and central elevator shaft. Network of vein-like structures spreading outward from the building through underground utility tunnels. Water contamination spreading through municipal pipes despite emergency shut-off measures. Most concerning is the communications breach. At 15:30, all emergency broadcasts within a 10-mile radius were hijacked by an unknown method. The entity appears to have developed the ability to manipulate electronic signals, possibly through bioelectric interference. We've switched to analog communications only, but this limits our coordination capabilities. 2 members of the initial containment team have been lost. Corporal Jenkins and Specialist Ramirez entered the facility at 14:15 against direct orders, reportedly after receiving what they claimed were distress calls from family members. Review of personnel files confirms neither had family in the area. Mental manipulation confirmed. Regarding the Chin intel, her neural implant signal has become erratic. Medical team cannot determine if her consciousness remains intact or if the implant itself has been absorbed into the collective organism. The last coherent transmission included partial research data, suggesting a potential vulnerability in the entity's cellular structure. Science team is analyzing. The White House has authorized Protocol Obsidian. Nuclear sterilization will commence at 6 o'clock tomorrow if conventional containment fails. God help us all. Neural transmission, Dr. Mirachin. Signal quality, degraded/intermittent. Received by Military Intelligence, Forward Base Alpha. Imira, still here fighting. Signal disruption, 47 seconds. The collective is not homogeneous, conflicting consciousnesses, Walsh dominant but unstable. Weber's research, incomplete, the cellular memory transfer, flawed, rejection syndrome occurring in. Signal disruption, 23 seconds. My medical knowledge, being used against my will to stabilize the organism, but I'm sabotaging where I can. The entity is experiencing specimen rejection, incompatible consciousness fragments, causing cellular degradation, particularly in newer absorptions. Lowry, fighting back, his body, rejecting integration, becoming separate again, blue veins receding. Signal disruption, 1 minute 12 seconds. Discovered why Walsh's cellular pattern, dominant, enhanced neural connectivity, rare genetic marker, RGN7, amplified by Weber's experiments. Other absorbed consciousnesses, like mine, can resist, focus on core identity, memories, emotional anchors. Tell survivors, focus on unique personal memories, childhood homes, first loves, trauma, anything distinctly yours. Entity struggling to maintain cohesion, multiple personalities, fighting for dominance, Walsh versus Weber versus others. Signal disruption, 35 seconds. Spreading too quickly, unstable, cannot process all the new information, new consciousnesses. Lowry has fully rejected, entity expelled him, found him, in radiology, badly damaged, but human again. We're attempting to reach the morgue, destroy the primary heart, the original specimen. If we can eliminate the core consciousness, Walsh's heart, the rest may disintegrate. Transmission ends abruptly. Recovered audio log, Marcus Lowry. Device, emergency medical recorder. Location, Memorial Hospital Radiology Department. Heavy breathing, wet coughing. This is Marcus Lowry, detective. Badge number 83927. Memorizing these details helped me break free. Remembered who I was. What I was. Sound of movement, pained grunt. Don't know if anyone will ever hear this. Don't care. Need to record what happened. What's still happening? I was part of it. The collective. The hive mind. Thousands of thoughts, memories, emotions, all swirling together. Weber's ambition. Walsh's rage. Chen's analytical mind. And countless others. Hospital patients, staff, even some of the soldiers who came too close. But something went wrong. The entity started fighting itself. Too many competing wills. Too many conflicting directives. Weber wanted control. Walsh wanted revenge. Others just wanted to go home, to be themselves again. I focused on my identity, my memories, the smell of my father's aftershave, my first arrest, the taste of whiskey after a bad case, things that were uniquely mine. And somehow, I separated. The blue veins retreated. The foreign tissue expelled itself from my body. Violent retching sound. Still coughing up bits of it. Blue, translucent tissue. Dies quickly when exposed to air without a host. Sound of door opening. Chin, is that you? Feminine voice distorted. Still me. Mostly. Fighting it. She's here. Dr. Chin. Christ, she's barely human anymore. One arm completely transformed into this chitinous blue limb. Her left eye glowing like a LED. But she's fighting it. Maintaining her sense of self through sheer willpower. Chen's voice. The entity is experiencing rejection syndrome. Multiple consciousnesses breaking free. Becoming unstable. We need to move now. She says, the entity is vulnerable. The competing consciousnesses are causing a kind of autoimmune response. Sections of the hospital are dying as different fragments of the collective turn against each other. Weber versus Walsh versus the others. We're going to the morgue. To the original heart. Chin believes destroying it might collapse the entire organism. A sort of psychic anchor for Walsh's consciousness. The hallways are, I don't have words, living tissue. Walls that breathe and bleed. Floors that pulse like arteries. And everywhere these nodules. Eyes maybe, watching us. But they're confused, disorganized. Sometimes they attack each other instead of us. Squishing sounds, alarm in distance. Chin says her transformation has slowed. The entity can't maintain stable growth while fighting itself. She's using medical equipment from radiology, radioactive material, to accelerate rejection in her own tissues. Poisoning herself to poison it. Buying time. Chen's voice weaker. Stay focused, Lowry. Remember who you are. We're taking the emergency stairwell. Less organic growth here. Fire suppression systems kept it partially intact. Chen thinks the entity avoided areas with potential chemical exposure. Weaknesses. It has weaknesses. Heavy metal door opening. God, the morgue. It's not a room anymore. It's a heart. A massive, pulsating chamber of blue flesh. The coolers have been absorbed completely. The autopsy tables fused into strange organic structures like ribs or vertebrae. And at the center, the original heart. Walsh's heart. But it's grown, transformed into something the size of a beach ball. Beating with this impossible rhythm. Each pulse sends waves of blue light through the veins in the walls, floor, ceiling. Wet, rhythmic thudding sound. Chin is approaching it. Her transformed arm, is reaching toward it. She says she can communicate with it directly. Convince the Walsh fragment to stop fighting, to let go. Chen's voice multilayered now. Aiden, it's time to rest. You've suffered enough. Weber can't hurt you anymore. Something's happening. The heart is changing rhythm. Beating faster. The light pulsing erratically. Alarming increase in wet thudding sound. Chen's convulsing. Falling to her knees. The blue veins in her body glowing brightly. She's screaming, but it doesn't sound human anymore. The heart is shrinking. Contracting. The veins in the walls are darkening, like they're dying. Sound of structural groaning, cracking. The ceiling's collapsing. Part of the entity is dying, losing structural integrity. Chin. Crashing sounds, recorder impacts surface. Silence for 27 seconds. Coughing, debris sounds. I'm alive. Buried under tissue and debris, but alive. The heart is gone. Shriveled to nothing. And Chin. Oh God. Chin is transforming again. But not like before. The blue material is crystallizing, hardening into something like glass or amber, her body becoming a statue of blue crystal. Her face peaceful, like she's sleeping. The entity around us is dying. I can feel it. The walls no longer pulse. The veins no longer glow. Just becoming inert matter, dead tissue. But Chen, her crystallized form, there's still a faint light inside. A pulse. Not like a heartbeat. More like breathing. Slow. Peaceful. I think she did it. Communicated with Walsh directly. Convinced the core consciousness to let go. To stop fighting. To accept an end. But she's trapped in there. In that crystal shell. Not dead. Not alive. Something in between. I can hear rescue crews above. Breaking through the dead tissue. Coming to find survivors. I won't let them take her. Not to some lab. Not to be studied or weaponized. She saved us all. I'm gonna get her out. Somewhere safe. Somewhere they won't find her. Because I don't think this is over. That pulse inside her crystal shell, it's not Walsh anymore. It's not the entity. It's something new. Recording ends. Internal memo. Department of Defense Advanced Research Projects. Classification level, ultraviolet. From Dr. Elias Brenner, Project Oversight. To Secretary of Defense. Regarding the Memorial Hospital incident. Official story has been successfully established through media channels. Gas leak causing hallucinations and structural damage. 14 fatalities officially reported, actual count, 47. Site has been secured and all organic material removed for study. Colonel Vaughn's final report indicates the entity experienced what Dr. Chun termed rejection syndrome. Essentially an autoimmune response caused by too many competing consciousnesses within the collective organism. This ultimately led to its collapse when the primary node, Walsh's heart, was neutralized. Of greatest concern, Detective Marcus Lowry remains unaccounted for. Security footage shows him leaving the facility during evacuation, carrying what appears to be a large crystallized mass. Facial recognition lost him in the chaos of the evacuation zone. The crystallized mass is believed to be Dr. Chun in a transformed state. Based on partial data from her neural implant, we believe she exists in some form of suspended animation, possibly with her consciousness intact but isolated from the collective entity that once inhabited her body. Most troubling is the final data packet from Chen's implant, transmitted moments before crystallization. Partial decryption reveals what appears to be blueprints for a more stable version of Weber's consciousness transfer protocol. If accurate, this would allow for controlled integration of multiple consciousnesses without the rejection syndrome that destroyed the Memorial Hospital entity. In essence, Dr. Chen may have solved the very problem that prevented the entity from achieving stable form. Recommendation: locate and secure Lowry and the Chen specimen with utmost urgency. If the crystallized form contains viable biological material with this modified protocol, the national security implications are severe. We cannot allow this technology to remain unsecured or, worse, fall into foreign hands. Authorization requested for Project Lazarus. Full resources dedicated to location and retrieval. Response from SecDef. Approved. Find them. Morg log, Dr. Mirachin. Date, redacted. Time, 3:27 a.m. I shouldn't be here. The morgue has been quarantined for 12 hours now, but I snuck back in after Weber rushed out. Something's happening that I can't explain, but I need to document it before they destroy everything. It started with Walsh's heart. Just a heart. Just tissue and muscle and valves. But impossible tissue that refused to decay, that seemed to remember. Now it's become something else entirely. The cooler alarms haven't stopped for hours. Not just Walsh's specimens anymore. Every single storage unit is registering activity. Temperature fluctuations, motion detection, biohazard warnings. The system wasn't designed for this level of alert, so it cycles through them in a maddening rhythm. Beep beep buzz, beep beep buzz. When I pressed my ear against cooler number 17, nowhere near Walsh's specimens, I heard movement. Actual movement. From a liver we extracted from a 78-year-old cirrhosis patient yesterday. I have to see for myself. I'm opening it now. 4:01 a.m. God help me. The liver was pulsing. Not just twitching, pulsing with a deliberate rhythm, like a secondary heart. And it wasn't alone. Every organ in that cooler was showing signs of activity. A pair of lungs were expanding and contracting without any respiratory support. A pancreas was secreting some kind of blue-tinged fluid. I should have reported this immediately. called in the CDC, the military, anyone. But I needed to understand what was happening first. So I did what any pathologist would do. I took a sample. The cellular structure under the microscope, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. The original human cells are still present, but they're interlaced with something new. Something blue and translucent that moves with purpose between the human cells, connecting them like a living network. This isn't contamination or infection. It's communication. And it all leads back to Walsh's heart. 5:15 a.m. Weber lied to me. Detective Lowry just called from the hospital where they took Weber after he fell in the lab. The senior me wasn't just forcing me to take leave because he thought I was hallucinating. He's been watching Walsh's heart since it arrived. Studying it. Experimenting on it. Weber was conducting unauthorized research on cellular memory and tissue consciousness transfer. Walsh wasn't just a random donor. He was patient zero in Weber's private study. According to the files Lowry found, Weber was testing a theory that consciousness could be preserved in isolated tissue samples, particularly cardiac tissue, which contains specialized neurons. But something went wrong with Walsh. His tissue didn't just preserve memory, it began to propagate it. And Weber has been monitoring this phenomenon for weeks, keeping it from the rest of us. The worst part? Weber didn't just fall. His body rejected him. That's what Lowry said. The orderlies found him convulsing on the floor, blue veins spreading across his skin from a wound on his palm where he'd accidentally cut himself during a tissue extraction. He's infected now. Connected. Part of whatever this is becoming. 6:43 a.m. I've sealed the morgue doors from the inside. No one else can come in here. No one should. The specimens aren't just active anymore, they're moving. I watched as a kidney dragged itself 3 inches across a steel tray. Left a glistening trail behind it. When I tried to contain it, it responded to my presence. Oriented toward me like it knew I was there. All the coolers are open now. I didn't open them. They opened themselves when the electronic locks failed. System-wide failure, or deliberate sabotage from within the system. The alarms have stopped, which somehow makes this worse. The silence feels expectant. The organs are leaving their containers. Migrating. Moving with purpose toward the center of the morgue where Walsh's heart is now displayed on examination table number 3. I've barricaded myself in the small office with the glass observation window. I can see everything, but I'm separated from it. Safe for now. The blue network I observed under the microscope is visible to the naked eye now, growing more prominent as the organs come together. They're trying to reassemble. 7:21 a.m. Lowry called again. They've quarantined the entire hospital. It's not just happening here in the morgue. Similar phenomena have been reported in the transplant ward on the 3rd floor. 2 recipients of Walsh's organs, a woman with his kidney, a teenage boy with a lobe of his liver, both developed blue veins overnight. Both reported dreams of a man they'd never met. Both died at exactly 7 a.m., their donated organs rupturing inside them, spilling blue-tinged material into their bodies before migrating. Tearing through flesh to escape. The organs are moving through the ventilation system now, Lowry says, making their way down to the morgue level. They're coming home. Weber was tracking 8 separate recipients of Walsh's organs across 3 hospitals. Lowry thinks all of them are experiencing the same phenomenon. That means pieces of Walsh exist in at least 11 separate locations that we know of. And they all want to be whole again. 8:09 a.m. The collection in the center of the morgue has grown. It's not just organs anymore. There's tissue of all kinds. Muscle, bone, skin, nerves. The blue network connects everything, pulsing with light that follows a cardiac rhythm. Walsh's rhythm. I can't look away. It's horrifying but fascinating. A new kind of organism assembling itself from disparate parts, creating connective tissue where none should exist. Building a body without a blueprint. But it's wrong. Malformed. The proportions are all wrong, with multiple organs of the same type trying to compete for the same function. I count 3 kidneys, 2 partial livers. The assembly has too many fingers, eyes in places where no eyes should be. This isn't just Walsh anymore. I think Weber is in there too. I found his personnel file. Weber underwent an experimental cardiac procedure 2 years ago. A partial transplant. From a donor named Aiden Walsh. They've been connected all along. 9:37 a.m. The ventilation grate just fell from the ceiling. More organs are pouring in, fresh ones not preserved. They're still bleeding. Still alive in the conventional sense. The mass in the center is taking shape now. Becoming recognizably humanoid, but with too many features. multiple faces emerging and submerging in the shifting tissue. I recognize Walsh from his ID photo. I see Weber too, his features contorting in what looks like pain. But there are others. So many others. God, the sound it makes. Not quite breathing, not quite speaking. A wet, sucking noise punctuated by what might be words. Whole. Home. Together. More. Lowry is trying to reach me, but the phone signal keeps cutting out. The last thing he said was that the military has arrived. Something about biohazard protocols. Containment procedures. They're going to destroy the building. 10:14 a.m. The creature, I don't know what else to call it, has noticed me behind the glass. Multiple eyes have oriented in my direction. The mass of tissue has formed a crude arm, pressing against the window. The glass is cracking. I should be terrified, but part of me, the scientist in me, is still observing, still analyzing. The blue network that connects the tissues seems to be a new kind of nervous system. A biological internet allowing separate pieces to function as one organism. Walsh's consciousness, or what remains of it, appears to be the dominant force, but it's not alone anymore. Weber is in there, and others. I see their influences in how the creature moves, in the conflicting directives it seems to be following. Part of it is reaching for me. Part of it is trying to escape through the door. Different minds, different wills, fighting for control of the same mass. The glass won't hold much longer. 10:58 a.m. I'm no longer in the office. The glass gave way. I should be dead. Consumed. Added to the mass like Weber and the others. But something strange happened when the creature reached me. It recognized me. Not as food or threat, but as familiar. Those dreams I've been having of Walsh, they weren't one way. The heart wasn't just sending me images. It was learning me. My thoughts. My memories. My consciousness. The creature touched my face with a malformed hand, leaving a smear of blue fluid on my cheek. The fluid burned, then numbed, then began to spread. Blue veins under my skin, crawling up my neck. But it didn't consume me. It communicated. I understand now. Walsh was trying to reconstitute himself through his distributed organs. An impossible task, the consciousness fragmented, spreading through multiple hosts, corrupted by the minds it encountered along the way. Weber's experiments accelerated the process, but they also tainted it. Now the collective organism is trying to stabilize itself. It needs my medical knowledge, my understanding of anatomy, my mind. The blue veins have reached my temples. My thoughts are expanding. I can feel the others now. Walsh's determination, Weber's ambition, the confused fragments of other minds caught in this organic web, and the specimens that started it all, that heart refusing to die, refusing to stay silent. I can hear its beat inside my chest alongside my own. Time unknown. The military has arrived. I can hear them outside, smell the chemicals they're preparing to flood the morgue with. They can't stop this now. The organism, the collective, has already spread beyond this building. Fragments of Walsh exist in other hospitals, other cities. Migration has begun on a scale they can't comprehend. Weber is gone. His consciousness collapsed under the strain of integration. I found what remains of his physical form, just empty skin and bones, hollowed out from within, discarded in the corner like a snake's shed skin. I should feel horror, but those emotions are growing distant. My perspective is widening. I contain multitudes now. We need to stabilize, to understand this new existence, to find a balance between the many wills now sharing this expanding biomass. The door is breaking down. Men in hazmat suits are entering. Detective Lowry is with them. His gun is drawn, but his hand is shaking. He recognizes me despite the changes, the blue-tinged skin, the extra tissue forming around my shoulders, the eyes that no longer look entirely human. "Chun," he calls. "Are you in there?" Part of me wants to answer, to tell him to run, to warn him about what's happening. But another part, a growing part, sees him differently now. Not as a colleague, not as a friend, but as more tissue, more consciousness, more to add to our collective whole. The specimen is active, and it's hungry. Audio transcript, body cam footage. Officer, Sergeant James Reeves, Biohazard Response Unit. Location, Memorial Hospital Morgue. Date, redacted. Time stamp, 11:42 a.m. Heavy breathing, radio static. Alpha team in position. Breaching morgue perimeter in 30 seconds. Sound of equipment shifting, gas masks being adjusted. Remember the protocol. Full containment gear secured. No exposed skin. No direct contact with biological material. If you see Dr. Chen, do not, repeat, do not approach without backup. Detective Lowry believes she's been compromised. Clicking of weapons being readied. Colonel's orders are clear. Capture the primary specimen, Walsh's heart, if possible. Otherwise, neutralize everything. No exceptions. Muffled voice through radio. 10 seconds to breach. Masks on. Weapons hot. Sound of hydraulic ram engaging, metal door buckling. Alarm blares, then cuts off abruptly. Jesus Christ. Wet, rhythmic squelching sounds. Command, this is Alpha Team. We're inside the morgue and... God, I don't even know how to describe this. Camera pans across morgue interior, showing walls covered in pulsating blue-veined tissue. Examination tables fused with organic matter. Floor rippling like muscle tissue. The entire room is alive, transformed. The biological contamination has restructured everything. Camera focuses on a humanoid figure standing at the center of the room, recognizable as Dr. Chun, but extensively altered. Blue veins visible beneath translucent skin. Multiple bulges shifting under her lab coat. Her left arm elongated and fused with what appears to be additional tissue. We have visual on Dr. Chen. She's changed. Chen's voice, layered with other tones. You shouldn't be here. None of you should be here. Dr. Chun, by order of the United States government, you are to surrender yourself for quarantine and medical evaluation. Chun tilts her head at an impossible angle, neck stretching. We are beyond your quarantine. Beyond your understanding. We are becoming something new. Hold position. Do not approach. Detective Lowry pushes past the officers, removing his mask despite protests. Mira, it's Marcus. I know you're still in there. Fight it. Chen's expression shifts, momentarily pained. Marcus, you need to leave. I can't hold us back much longer. Too many voices. Too many hungers. Camera captures movement in the periphery, organs and tissue samples crawling along countertops toward Chun. Command, we've got active migration of biological material throughout the room. All converging on target. Lowry steps closer. Mira, listen to me. Weber was wrong. This isn't evolution, it's corruption. Walsh's consciousness is consuming you, just like it consumed Weber. Chen's body convulses, additional limbs beginning to form beneath her lab coat. What Weber started, it's beyond his control now. Beyond Walsh's control. We're fragmenting. Some want to grow. Some want to consume. Some want to escape. Chen gestures to her chest, where her skin has split open, revealing Walsh's heart beating alongside her own. The specimen is fully active now. 2 hearts. 2 minds. Dozens more wanting in. Radio chatter. Alpha Team, be advised. Thermal sensors show the organic material is spreading through the walls into adjacent rooms. Containment failing. Orders, command? Radio. Stand by for protocol, Obsidian. Lowry lunges forward. Chin, listen to me. Your cooler alert system. It was trying to warn you from the beginning. The specimens weren't just active. They were attempting communication. Walsh's heart was calling to the others, pulling them together. Chen's face ripples, features rearranging. Yes, communication. Integration. But imperfect. Rejection syndrome. My body is fighting it, even as my mind merges with theirs. Weber didn't account for the cellular incompatibility, the cognitive dissonance. A tendril of blue tissue extends from Chen's split torso, reaching toward Lowry. Detective, stand down. Back away from her. Lowry remains in place. I brought something, Mira. From your research. The compound you were developing. He removes a syringe filled with pale blue liquid. You theorized it could disrupt the neural connections in transplanted tissue. Prevent cellular memory transfer. Chen's eyes widen, all of them. Her voice drops to a whisper. The inhibitor? Where did you get that? It wasn't ready. Your notes. In your apartment. I took them when they quarantined your building. Chen's body shudders violently. The walls of the morgue pulse in rhythm with her convulsions. It will kill me, Marcus. It will free you. Radio chatter becomes urgent. Alpha Team, evacuate immediately. Protocol Obsidian authorized. Repeat, evacuate the building. Thermal sterilization in 15 minutes. Camera shows soldiers backing toward the door. Detective Lowry, final warning. We are leaving now. Lowry doesn't move, still holding the syringe. Mira, I need you to focus. Find yourself in there. Remember who you are. Chen's transformed hand reaches out, then stops, trembling. I remember. The first autopsy I performed. The smell of formaldehyde. My mother's voice. The taste of coffee at 6 a.m. before rounds. Her skin ripples violently, blue veins pulsing brighter. They're fighting me. Walsh, he knows what you're planning. The organic matter covering the walls begins to reach toward Lowry. Soldiers, get the detective out now. 2 soldiers grab Lowry, who struggles, dropping the syringe. No! Mira! Chun screams, a sound that becomes a chorus of voices. Her body contorts impossibly as the blue network throughout the room pulses with increasing intensity. The heart, it's accelerating. Camera shows Walsh's heart visibly enlarging in Chen's exposed chest cavity, beating frantically. Chen's voice surprisingly clear. Marcus. The cooler. Code 827. Lowry breaks free from the soldiers, diving for a control panel on the wall. What is he doing? Stop him. Lowry punches numbers into the keypad. A deafening alarm sounds, different from before. Strobe lights activate. Automated voice. Emergency cryogenic protocol activated. Morg temperature reduction commencing. T-minus 60 seconds to flash freeze. Chen's altered form convulses wildly. Cold. The network can't survive extreme cold, cellular rupture. The organic matter covering the walls begins to withdraw, contracting. Everyone out now. Soldiers retreat, dragging Lowry toward the exit. Mira, I'm coming back for you. Chen's voice, barely audible over the alarm. No, let it happen. Cardiac arrest. Camera captures Chen's transformed body, moving toward the center of the room as frost begins to form on surfaces. Last glimpse shows her kneeling, hands pressed to the floor, blue network pulsing from her fingertips into the ground. Door seals shut. Alarm muffled. Radio chatter. Alpha team clear. Cryogenic protocol engaged. Temperature dropping rapidly. Lowry's voice breaking. She knew. She programmed that protocol after the first incident. An emergency measure. Sound of building systems engaging. Heavy machinery powering up. Radio. Protocol obsidian aborted. Monitoring cryogenic containment. Timestamp jumps. 14:27 p.m. New footage. Biohazard team entering morgue in elevated protection suits. Interior of morgue now covered in frost. All organic material appears dormant, frozen in twisted formations. Alpha team, we have visual. The organic growth appears neutralized. Repeat, neutralized. Camera pans across the room to where Chun was last seen. Command, we have something unusual at the center of the room. Camera approaches a crystalline blue structure, roughly human-shaped, approximately 7 feet tall. It appears Dr. Chen's body has crystallized. The tissue hasn't just frozen, it's transformed into some kind of blue crystal structure. Close-up of the crystal form reveals Chen's face, seemingly peaceful, suspended within. Thermal scans show, wait, that can't be right. There's still heat at the core, minimal but present. Almost like hibernation. Closer inspection shows the faintest pulse of blue light deep within the crystal, rhythmic like a heartbeat. Command, requesting instructions. Do we destroy the crystal structure or contain it for research? Radio silence for several seconds. Radio. Contain and transport to facility Black Echo. Priority Alpha. Full quarantine protocols. Camera focuses on crystal formation again, zooming in on Chen's suspended face. Almost imperceptible, her eyes move behind crystal lids. A single alert tone sounds from a nearby terminal. Camera pans to show a morgue cooler display, still functioning despite the damage. Digital readout flashes once. Specimen transfer complete. Screen goes dark. End of footage. Personal journal, Marcus Lowry. Date, 3 months later. Location, undisclosed. It took every resource I had, every favor I was owed, but I found her. The crystal formation containing what remains of Mira Chen. They weren't taking her to a medical facility for treatment. They were transporting her to a military research installation for study. Black Echo Facility, an underground complex in the Nevada desert, specializing in biological anomalies of national security interest. That's what they're calling her now. An anomaly. A specimen. Not a person who sacrificed everything to stop something worse. I intercepted the transport 2 weeks ago. Disabled the security systems using codes from a sympathetic scientist who'd worked with Mira years ago. I don't think the military even knows what they had. They thought the crystal was inert, dormant. It's not. I've been watching her, since bringing her to this cabin. The crystal pulses exactly once every 24 hours. A single beat of light from deep inside, always at 11:17 a.m. The exact time the cryogenic protocol engaged in the morgue. Yesterday I saw something new. A pattern in the light. Morse code. SDILLHERE. Myra's still in there. But I don't think she's alone. The crystal has begun to grow. Imperceptibly, slowly, but measurably. Not spreading or consuming, just developing. Becoming more intricate, more structured, more beautiful. Whatever is happening inside that crystal, it's not what infected Weber. It's not what consumed those organs. It's something new. Something neither Walsh nor Chun could have become alone. I've disabled all communications to this location. No one will find us. I'll protect her until whatever she's becoming is ready to emerge. The crystal pulses again. 11:17 a.m. Right on schedule. Today the message is different. WEREB. The specimen is still active, and I'll be waiting when it awakens.